again, this is just my opinion. These are my experiences. This is what my experience in the Southern California scene since 1999 has taught me, is that a lot of the ways that dancers express themselves, I mentioned earlier, were kind of abstract in themselves. We didn't have the hardcore focus on foundation back then that we do today. Mind you, a lot of dancers were, foundation based, and nobody had forgotten about the elements of that foundation. But the battle aspect was a little bit more move for move, pound for pound, burn for burn. And, if you really want to, get technical, that can be considered abstract. That can be considered unorthodox because you're skipping a lot of those parts that people consider foundation.
Salute to the subscribers, those that live beyond the Cypher. I am your host, Illskillz. This is Beyond the Cypher, the podcast that shows the humanity and the superhuman. If you're new to the channel, please consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons. They cost you nothing. Today, for episode 17, Picture of You, we have another Cali hitter, straight knucklehead, husband, father, actor, and the biggest Rocky fan in the state of California, Mike the Cure. What up, Mike? How you doing?
Doing great, man. Just excited to be on the show. So let's dig into some topics here, huh?
No doubt, man. We got a lot to talk about. And usually I start with, how did you get into hip hop or how did you get into breaking? But I have something that I was told that I would like to verify with you first. I was told, he's like, here we go. But no, I was told that you are actually the first Cali b-boy of the abstract movement. Not the first abstract dancer, but the abstract movement. Now, when I think of the abstract movement, I think of when the dress code came in, kind of like the rocker style, so on and so forth. So would you agree with that, or would you say, nah, it wasn't me, it was such and such?
Long story short, I think sure. There's it's a multifaceted topic. There's a lot that goes into it. Obviously, I come from a humble perspective where, I was inspired by a lot of things that were presented before me. And I wouldn't call myself the originator. I wouldn't say any sole person originated that movement or persona per se, because there's a lot of contributing factors to it. In regards to the abstract b-boy presentation in the scene, I think for Southern California in particular, because that's where I'm from and that's what I can kind of speak for, I would pretty much relegate it to myself and Nomak from Sour Patch, who wasn't Sour Patch at the time, but he was slick on the monkey bars. And in particular, it was an event thrown by Utmost of Battle Monkeys, and he threw an event called Unsigned Hype. And that event served as the catalyst for all of the up-and-coming crews in the Southern California scene to basically express themselves on a platform that was recognized as a whole. So that event in particular was where I would say the abstract movement was, for lack of a better term, it was birthed there at that event in particular. So I can't claim full credit, but I was there for it, at its conception.
Word. And just to clarify, it was actually a member of Slick that told me that.
Oh, word. Well, I'm sure he was there for that too. So he's probably a good source.
No doubt, no doubt. Now I guess we can get into the traditional intro. How, Mike, did you get into hip hop and breaking?
Well, growing up, I'm an 80s baby, so I was raised a little bit less on cartoons, a little bit more on 80s pop culture. So I grew up watching, a lot of, karate with Bruce Lee, Van Damme, Rocky. I kind of became more cognizant of it when Rocky 3 was out. So Eye of the Tiger, Mr. T, that was really a prime inspiration for me in terms of just pop culture in a sense. And so I became really fascinated with the world of film and cinema. And so I had, didn't really get an idea of what dance was until probably late 90s. In 97, I'm actually originally from Arizona. And
Oh wow, I did not know that.
yeah, so I started dancing out in Arizona. And basically in 7th grade, my friends and I, we caught wind of a breaking video, which everyone will probably know, Battle of the Year. And 1996 was the video. And mind you, this, you know, in the age of VHS, you know, nothing was a master copy. So, you know, it was probably like a 5th or 6th generation where you had to constantly, you know, play with a fickle tracking system, right?
Right,
so
right,
you
right.
never had a clear picture. So I was just fascinated with it. I saw it, and it just blossomed into this beautiful flower of ideas and inspiring concepts. And it was me, maybe about 5 other guys in 7th grade, and we just passed the video around, constantly mimicking and biting all these moves we would see in the video. And you know, and then, you know, come time for the Sadie Hawkins dance, or come time for the you know, grade school dances, was our time to shine, right? And we'd actually, you know, go out there and dance, and we didn't know what we were doing, you know, but it felt good, and it was something different, you know, and it belonged to us because I was never great at sports. You know, I wasn't really, you know, a mathlete. Like, I was never really, you know, big on those things. And so this was something that came along that felt like it belonged to me, and it felt like I belonged to it. And at that point, it was near the end of my time in Arizona, and I had moved to California. And when I moved to California in my freshman year, I had just started, so I didn't know anybody. And I had joined band, and then, you know, going to and fro classes in the quads, I saw a bunch of dancers, you know, a bunch of b-boys, and it was just like, wow, okay, this is a sign. So it was a different time then. So getting acquainted was a lot more difficult because nobody wanted to teach you anything. You know, it was a much more close to the chest, guarded art form. And, you know, I would go up and try to talk to some of the guys. No, man, I ain't here to teach. And I'm just like, whoa, like, I'm just trying to make friends, you know, like, I didn't know anybody. And so I really had to, like, bust my back just to kind of get in with these guys. And even at that point, I still wasn't fully in. So, you know, I really grinded for a while. It took me 2 years to learn windmills. I didn't have a workshop. I didn't have these videos that you see on YouTube. It was a different world. And at that point, once I started breaking more in high school and discovering more of the scene, it all changed when AOL Instant Messenger became a big part of communications, right? How many kids watching this video is going to know what I'm talking about when I say AIM?
AIM was the center of your social life.
Instant Messenger was cool. It was really convenient and it was quick. How it played a role in my life was completely just to talk to my friends and boys that I was interested in high school.
If I really liked a girl and I was sitting at home on AIM and that door opened and it was her, there was nothing. It was like she walked into your room. There was nothing more exciting.
It was sort of like the pre-Facebook, Instagram, social media addiction.
It's like you're loved, you're popular. Someone cares about you, even though you had headgear.
But when you're 16, it's the most important thing in your life.
Right.
Right.
So once I got onto that platform of communications, I met Cross One, and then everything was just downhill from there. You know, it's a long story, but that's kind of where it began.
No doubt. And, you know, I hate to drive this home every time somebody drops a jewel about the VHS era. But, you know, here at Beyond the Cypher, we're trying to not only just let people tell their stories, but each story becomes almost part of a breaking encyclopedia, right? So,
Absolutely.
you know, 50 years from now, I want, you know, the new B-boys, because if you're 30 and under now, you don't understand the pricelessness of having the VHSs, right? You don't understand the concept of like at least one member in your crew who can never have the VHSs because you ain't getting it back, right? Like everybody else gets to watch the VHS, you got to come over and watch the VHS because if we let you borrow it, the VHS is gone. You know what I'm saying? So like that's really an important era and almost like evolution of breaking when things were so nomadic. You know what I'm saying? And then us in that era compared to the people before us, they think we have it easy because we have VHSs. You know what I'm saying? They're like, well, you had something to watch. We had to show up and find the people. You know what I'm saying? So I always like to pause on that. And
to just piggyback off of what you're saying, it's that's like a whole podcast on its own. You know, if you really talk about the pros and the cons and the ups and downs, and just to kind of drive it a little bit more home, it's a double-edged sword. You know, it definitely, for those who were involved in that era where that was our primary source or resource, like I wouldn't trade it for the world because it means we came from a much more challenging stomping ground. Whereas now everything is so accessible that you kind of lose that mystique and you lose that aspect of never quite knowing what is next. And so you're always looking forward to, you know, whatever's on the plate that's coming your way. And so that's amazing. But even looking at it now, the kids that have it now, it's great because the exposure is there. There's way more opportunities. There's way more respect for what we do because people see it now. You know, obviously, I don't think we're at a point where it's fully understood and fully respected. But I feel like we're getting. So yeah, I mean, it's got its pros and it's got its cons. If I'm looking at it from a selfish perspective, I much prefer that era. But if I'm looking at it as a contributing person to the hip hop scene, I think where we're at is a great direction to go. So
no doubt. Okay. And
mind you, I'm a 7th grader, so I have no idea what fashion is. I have no idea what my voice is at this point.
Right.
So I'm more or less mimicking what I see in these videos. And in these videos, you know, you got cats like
For more quality content from Beyond the Cypher with Illskillz, don't forget to press the like and subscribe buttons. Also, feel free to follow us on Facebook and IG at Beyond the Cypher. Let us know how we're doing in the comment section. And to make sure you don't miss anything from the channel, smash that notification bell. We appreciate the love and support. Peace. Until the next episode.